Okay, here we are, episode 3. If you guys have seen 1 and 2, fantastic. It's great to get to this point where I kind of get the big reveal. What has been the point of 1 and 2, and what are we in for with number 3? 3 is where it really, hopefully, from the previous 2, set the foundations, and now gives us this amazing insight and opportunity to take everything forwards and to really, if you think back to some of the first slides, we talked about something called the ikigai, the Japanese concept of having those 4 pillars in balance, doing something you love, doing something you're good at, doing something that the world needs, something that solves a problem for the world right now, and making money from it. If we can get all those 4 pillars right, then we will be happy, fulfilled, impact the world in a positive way, and be able to make a living from it. Now, pretty damn cool. And that's where we're going. So as this little 3-part series has been widely based on this meme, generally based on this meme, part 1, super dead quick review in less than 30 seconds, was all about who wants change. We know we need change. We want change. Things are crazy out there. Things are crazy in the world today. So we know we want them to change. And part 1 was all about just showing us how different ancient timelines, calendars, points in time that have been predicted seem to converge just around this exact time, where there was an older time, there was a before, and now there's a future time, there's an after. And we're traversing that time in our lifetime right now. So it's a pretty important time from what I can see, and from a lot of the teachers and prophecies and ancient cultures that I've studied are alluding to. And let's face it, the world god damn well needs it. Part 2, episode 2, who wants to change? Now, it's all very well wanting that change and to be looking outside of ourselves, and we can see it, that it needs changing, but how do we go about that? And the key to that, and hopefully I demonstrated that and illustrated that in episode 2, was actually what has to happen within us. It's us, the internal, that needs to change. And we talked about an upgrade in consciousness, this before time and after time, this key transition stage that we're moving over to, that we talked about in episode 1. We then in episode 2 started to look at the fact that we are able to upgrade our consciousness. We can go through a shift in consciousness. And how does that happen? Well, in many ways, but one way is through the work that I do, through the style of energy healing that I've done. And I've worked with, as I talked about in episode 2, a specific style of healing called reconnective healing. It's reconnecting to yourself, more of who you are, that upgrade. We are way more than just the limited small section of consciousness that exists, with our fears and our trappings and our sabotaging and everything that we do within that small range of consciousness. Expand the consciousness, and actually a lot of our symptoms that really plague us in life, whether that's physical, whether that's emotional, mental, financial, in our relationships, so many different areas, that when we expand that consciousness, we have access to way more understanding about who we are, what we're here to do. And that's why I'm the life purpose guy, because I help people transition from where they're stuck, and which is normally stuck in the old consciousness. Even though they've got all the hardware to upgrade, they've evolved to upgrade, they just haven't made the switch over yet. And I help folks to make that switch over. Now, what does that switch over look like? The switch over looks like a lot of these symptoms we start to gain because we're receiving more information naturally. And we'll go through what that means to receive more information briefly in a second, as of course, you may not have seen the previous 2 episodes yet, is that we are essentially able to shift where we're at and upgrade where we are going. And that really enables us to live a life that is on purpose, that is fulfilling, that is happy, that that where the areas we struggle with start to resolve, and we really start to live a more phenomenal, impactful, and amazing life. So part 3, who wants to lead the change? And as you can see from this meme, no one wants to lead the change, because it's really tough to lead from a place where you are stuck, because it's often the ones who have made that shift already, that have been through the hardships, that have made the upgrades, that have learnt the tough lessons and learnt some amazing things from a new place of consciousness. And remember in episode 1, we talked about the fact that if we want something to change, just like Gandhi's quote, "Be the change you want to see in the world." That means we have to work on ourselves if we want to see the change. But also the other quote from Einstein of the definition of insanity, doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different outcome. If we want something new, if we want a different system, if we want solutions to problems, consistent problems that really need resolving, then we cannot operate from the same small bandwidth of consciousness that created those issues in the first place, and systems and structures. So what happens is, when we make this shift over, when we expand our consciousness and receive more information, new information, we start to find that we are insightful. We have these amazing ideas, which I'll get to in a bit, because that's what's been happening with my clients for a long time now, is that suddenly we have these epiphanies and these genius ideas about how things could be done differently. And then, as you'll see, the brave thing is then to put those ideas out into the world. And I just wanted to highlight someone who was an absolute master at this. You've probably heard of him, a guy called Steve Jobs, and considered an absolute creative genius. And pretty much throughout the entirety of Steve Jobs' career, especially when he was working with Apple, he would come up with amazing idea after amazing idea. And then when he released it to the world, no one got it. No one could see it until it was actually launched, and then people got to try it. I actually remember seeing the presentation, the big multimedia presentation that Steve Jobs did for the iPad. And pretty much the feedback I was seeing straight away and hearing around that was, there's no way this thing is going to replace newspapers. There's no way that this will catch on. And now if you look, the rest is history, right? Is that tablets are 10 a penny. They're everywhere. Because in that narrow bandwidth of consciousness, of awareness, all we could see from our limited viewpoint was that simply this thing was just trying to be a digital version of a newspaper. We didn't see the unbelievable possibilities of this piece of technology, but Steve Jobs could do, and that's why he created these things. Now, interestingly, you'd think Steve Jobs, absolute genius, real good, like obviously made a lot of money, real good businessman and whatever. He was probably studying a lot of, like how to make inventions and engineering and technology. In fact, it wasn't the case. I've actually listed 3 of Steve Jobs. You can Google this and look at Google Steve Jobs recommended reading list, and here's just his top 3. Number 1, he says, by absolute no-brainer, is the autobiography of a yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. The second, Be Here Now by Ram Dass, and the third, Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. Now, if you look down the rest of that list, it continues with phenomenal, more spiritual texts, more texts that were written or working from the author who had expanded their consciousness, who had quite often followed the yogic path, which the yogic path is all about expanding your consciousness back out to receive more information and therefore more understanding, and therefore be able to create newness and create inspiration and create solutions to problems, including war and hunger and poverty and everything else that plagues our world. Once we understand more through our consciousness, we wouldn't do the things that keep perpetuating and creating and actually sustaining a lot of these issues. So we are a little bit like, as I briefly described in episode 2, we are quite like a TV set. So Steve Jobs is really just a TV set. The inspiration for these incredible technological inventions came from the fact that because of the text he was reading and what he was into, and he did work in those respects, and probably did a lot more other stuff, right, that we don't even know about, to expand his consciousness. As his consciousness expanded, as his chakras, as you can see here, like little radars, were able to receive more information, he was able to just know this stuff. It seemed like he was coming up with these genius ideas, but really he was just receiving the broadcast that was inspiring him, that was guiding him with these ideas. And then he was brave enough to put it out into the world, or have the backing of Apple to actually go with these ideas, even though the world had never seen them before and probably couldn't get its head around it to begin with. But once it was out there, once it was in place, and once people could see it for themselves and try it for themselves, then they could see the huge benefits, and the rest is history, right? So in life, say we tend to be existing from the same small bandwidth of consciousness, doing the same things over and over again daily. I think it's even believed, I think it was Joe Dispenza, I think I saw a quote of him saying once that roughly about 70% of our thoughts are the same today as yesterday. It blew my mind when I thought about that. Maybe I've been thinking about that most of the time ever since. Is that the fact that we have the same thoughts, so we take the same actions, so we get the same outcomes. And it's no wonder when we look at the bottom of this little picture here, life seems a little bit like Groundhog Day. And we tend to see the same stuff popping up day in, day out, as if we're on this roller coaster or merry-go-round of life, and we seem pretty powerless to do much about it. We seem at the mercy to our outer world that just keeps bringing the same old stuff, whether we're trying to make money, whether we're trying to improve our health, whether we're trying to find the love of our life, whichever area it is, really trying to find purpose and meaning in our life, whatever area it is, it seems like a real uphill struggle, and it seems like we are going round in circles and not getting anywhere. So this is where most folks exist for the vast majority of their life quite often. But one thing really cool started happening when I started to do my work with my clients. I would start bumping into them. Maybe normally clients have 3 sessions with me, right? And then they go off. Traditionally, I'll be working with musculoskeletal issues, but I was bringing energy work in as well, mixing it all up. And then when I bump into these clients, or they'll come back 6 months to a year later, I would say, how's your dodgy knee? How's your bad back? How's your bad shoulder? And they'll go, Steve, that's weird. Forgot all about that. That's what I came to you for, wasn't it? And I'll be like, yeah, how's it going? And they say, well, just a few months after I saw you, it kind of just disappeared. In fact, I've forgotten I even had an issue there anymore. But I tell you what has happened, Steve. I tell you what, I quit that job that I was moaning about, and now I'm doing this amazing thing. I'm loving what I'm doing. And another client might say, well, I was quite in a bad place with my relationship at the time, my toxic relationship, and I just didn't feel like I had the energy or the resources or the know-how or what to do to support myself and leave that relationship. But I don't know, after I saw you, I just took the plunge. I just did it. And now I've found the most amazing partner, and it's just great right now. Life's really good. And I just started to see client after client after client, we could say, just getting into alignment with what it is they're here. But as I discovered, these changes were happening because I was helping them expand their consciousness to make this switch over from kind of the old consciousness to the new consciousness, the old era, which is in one of the timelines we call Kali Yuga, moving into the new timeline, the new era, and which is the energetic era of Dwapara Yuga. So these are just some of the things I started to see with an upward spiral in people's lives. First of all, they would start to get a mad inspiration. So they would be like doing the same thing, same job, getting the same outcomes, and having very little inspiration when I'd say, hey, what would you love to do? What great ideas do you have? And they go, oh, I just don't know, Steve. I don't really know what to do or how to get out of this mess or whatever. All of a sudden, after seeing me for 3 sessions, bam, they'll be like, oh, wow, that's a great idea. There's this possibility and this possibility. Or I could do this and do this. Or a great idea. Ideas, as you can see on the top one there. Phenomenal ideas for creating new things. So one client came to me, my good friend of mine came with a bad back once, like really crippling back pain. I gave him 4 hours of my time. He traveled all the way down from London for the day, bless him. I gave him everything I needed. He got in the car, and then on the way home, he had this mad epiphany, this mad vision for a new app. And this app had never been seen before, and it was what he became really passionate about. And he got funding and grants and everything, and it made this app happen. And he said, it just popped into my head, this amazing idea. And what we see with folks is that their passion really comes to the surface, and they really feel like they're on purpose. They're really doing something that feels purposeful, that has meaning, that's helping people. And of course, along the way, this is essentially what healing is, in my viewpoint. Healing is learning to let go of what isn't serving us anymore in order to move forwards into what serves us better now. And if we dare let go, and there's a part of our mind that says, if you let go of what you know, of what already is, what if what you step into doesn't work out? What if it fails? What if you end up on the streets? What if you end up ridiculed or ostracized? What if? So we tend to stay on the merry-go-round of life, and we tend to stick with the stuff that isn't serving us because it's too scary to go forwards. Now, what I found, this is the top right here, excitement, is that what I help release in folks becomes so exciting and so passionate that it has such a lot of uplift for that person that they feel they can finally move forwards and take the plunge. I actually had 4 people, separate days in 1 week once, actually quit their jobs not knowing what the hell they're going to do, and it all worked out amazing for every single one of them. They just kept coming in every day. Steve, quit my job. I've realized I can't stay in that job anymore. I realized it's the essence, it's the key to my back pain, or my stress and everything. I can't do it anymore. Why would I do that to myself? Don't know what I'm going to do. Anyway, they quit. Something amazing popped up straight away, because you've got to make the space. You've got to let go of what doesn't serve you to create the space and opportunity for what does to pop up. So it's just something I see time and time again. And this is why I've got to the point where I'm just like, do you know what? This is how I help people. I help people transition from where they're stuck and where they're in pain, and this could be a myriad of many things, to where they're really excited about going. And there's one more step that I want to share with you that I haven't put in here yet, because it's all very well, as lots of people did, get these amazing ideas and get all the excitement and all the purpose and all the passion and all the inspiration and all the excitement. And then it's a matter of then doing it. And doing it becomes the real key, because most of us wouldn't know where to start to implement such a big idea. And so that's the second way that I help people. For those who don't have that inspiration, for those who feel stuck, for those who can't see a way out, through my work, that creates that shift, that crossover, that expansion, that upgrade. That all then comes to the surface. And then secondly, bam, I then have got the most amazing opportunity to support you in making this a reality, in bringing those dreams and ideas to life. So as we briefly shown in episode 2 as well, here's that switch over, analog to digital, I describe it as. There's the suppression in the old energy, in the old consciousness, that keeps the uniqueness, the ideas, the individuality. In fact, it keeps the opportunity for newness and creation. Think about every single life that's born is unique in its own right. The suppression of Manipura chakra down in Svadhisthana keeps everything that's new down so you can keep doing over and over again what has worked. Clearly, that is not working for us in many aspects, in so many aspects anymore. So when we make this switch over, suddenly our uniqueness and our vision and our individuality and our energy starts to bubble up to the surface. And that's what I've seen in so many clients. And I see it in every client in different ways. And then the key is to then have the courage to do something with those ideas, to actually, let's make this happen. Let's create the change we want to see in the world. Scary prospect. How do we go about that? Well, I now have developed a way, genius way. My Steve Jobs, Steve, the life purpose guy, has downloaded my own genius idea for iPad or iMac or an iPod or an iPhone. Here's my solution to this scary problem of making it happen once you've got all of that genius there and you know your purpose and you're excited by it. So just wanted to quickly just show you that in case you missed that in part 2. Here's the problems, right? When we get these ideas coming to the surface, it's great. For everyone, it happens. As soon as we have 3 sessions, we lift that lid, we make the shift, all these ideas, all this uniqueness, all this vision comes to the surface. How do you transition from where you're stuck, the merry-go-round, the day-to-day Groundhog Day, into where you want to go? And how do you implement those things? So here's most of the kind of questions or complaints or concerns that I used to hear from folks is I wouldn't know where to start. How do I start a business? I mean, I've been employed my entire life on a salary. I've got this amazing idea for this new business. It's going to really help people, and I'm super pumped by it. I don't know how to run a business. I don't know how to start it up, how to build a website, how to get the accounts in order, blah, 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 blah. And so it's actually, the data shows us when we've studied procrastination is that procrastination has been shown through the data to be an issue when we have such a grand idea, but we don't have the skill sets to implement it. And most of us, when we have these amazing ideas, we're amazing at our genius, at what we're really good at, that one part of the ikigai. And we don't know how to implement a business generally, or how to write the book. We might have the amazing idea for the book, but how do you write a book, right? So we get stuck in procrastination, so we don't implement this newness, this genius, this purpose, because it seems like too grand a thing and we don't know where to start. The other question, how do I shift from my day job to my passion? Like loads of people would say, like, if I can't just give up my day job and do this, there's ways that we can make the transition. It doesn't have to be just cutting your ties, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. There is a process that we can take you through. People don't understand what I do. This comes a lot more from my healers and my teachers and my coaches, who find it really tough to describe what they do. Once we understand how to get very specific and very clear on how we help people, and they can understand that, then people will understand what you do. I'm in my passion, but I can't seem to make money. Again, lots of the time, the healers, the teachers, the coaches struggle to make the money because they're doing something they love. They're really damn good at it. But again, they can't make it clear enough as to how they can solve people's problems specifically, because generally we can help people with loads of issues, not just one specific thing. But there's a process we can go to, understanding how people's minds work, understand how marketing works, that we can really get clear on that, and therefore people will understand what you do, and you will then start to make money out of your passion. I've made a misspelling there, but I am scared of going it alone. Of course, that's the scary thing. Like, it's, for me, I've been alone for a long time, a lone wolf in this industry, and it is lonely. And you're trying to be jack of all trades. You're trying to learn how to set up marketing, accounts, business ideas, strategy, social media, website design, content creation. You become overwhelmed by it all, and really, wouldn't it be phenomenal, as we're going to see with the solution here, is that what if, and here's was my idea about 6 months ago. when I looked at all my clients who had all these amazing ideas, all these unique areas or zones of geniuses, I was like, well, hang on a minute. If all of us shared a little bit of that expertise to each other, we wouldn't have to try and figure out all these things on our own. We would have people who knew their stuff, who are passionate about their unique area of genius. And if we helped each other by pooling our resources in a way, then we take all the guessing out of being successful to bring your thing into this world and to make that shift. So I thought, well, hang on a minute. I've already got a lot of clients who have got these ideas, but they've been scared to implement it and haven't known how. And I've also got a lot of friends and connections who are amazing therapists and coaches who also are 100% in their passion, but they don't know, they have really struggled to make it a success and really pay the bills, up and down with clients and income. And so I could see quite clearly that if we came together as a group, as a real positive network that is able to share each little zone of genius between the whole, we would have access to such a broad range of resources that were amazing, that we could just implement these things step by step without having to try and figure it all out ourselves. Because I've spent many years in this game and I've had my fingers burnt. God knows how many times. I feel like I've had my arms burnt off. If I'm honest, I've invested in stuff which really didn't come. It was really just a load of rubbish, too much stuff, and tens of thousands of pounds. And I'm just like, I want that. I want something better for everyone. I want people to actually be able to thrive. That the world needs change. The world needs collaboration and people stepping into their power and into their passion and into their genius and bringing these new ideas to the surface. What if we came together as a team, like Avengers assembling? And I see that. I'm either kind of trying to bring a load of Avengers together, and the group's growing rapidly at the moment, or it's the coolest rock band in the world. And I'm just like, wow, I need you in the band. You need to be in my band. You are talent, and you are definitely. So I'm building this from the bottom up at the moment. So this is a new system, new structure, and I've been building the structure and how we can collaborate on all of this. And the beautiful thing is we're starting to find collaborations between people in the group, between zones of genius to collaborate. And also it becomes a beautiful, safe space where you come up with your ideas to really have a sounding board and get feedback from them. So you can really refine what you're doing, get very clear, get it really, really spot on. Because if you guys have ever tried expressing a really great idea that's come up for you, say to family and friends, chances are they didn't get it. Chances are they went, oh, I don't know. Sounds like it's a bit out there to me, or I don't know if that's going to make you any money, or what if it doesn't work, or do people really want that? You tend to get the folks who are on their merry-go-round, who aren't in this more expansive way of thinking, putting the Debbie Downer on your passion, pouring water over it, because they're not in that level of energy and passion. So they have to bring you down to their level. So what would it be like if you were with a group of others who were all in their passion, who were all excited, who were all collaborating and supporting each other? That would be pretty amazing. And that's what I've been building for a while now. And it's bloody exciting. So generally, who is this for? So if you know you need to change in your career is a very specific area, but do you know what? It could be relationship. It could be your health. I'm building the coolest rock band in the world that are geniuses in the area of health, in the area of relationships, in the area of sexuality and tantra and yoga. And just honestly, I've just got so many cool practitioners who are so amazing at what they do. And I'm bringing the inspiration, so new people can come in with their inspirations and build this amazing pool. So if you feel stuck in your life right now, then this will be absolutely amazing. The key is, of course, get started with me. We bring that inspiration up to the surface. We make that crossover, and you then join the space that's going to nurture you, to really bring and help you bring all of that to the forefront into creation. And secondly, as I mentioned, there's a lot of folks who have their inspiration already. There's a lot of folks who really are in their passion, the therapists, the teachers, the coaches, the healers, and they just can't figure out how to make the money from it. Well, I've got folks in the group who are experts in marketing, experts in branding. And so we've got not just healers and coaches and whatever collaborating. We've actually got some really amazing business people who are really top of their game, who know their stuff there as well. So do you know what, from where I'm organizing all of this, how can we go wrong to actually make stuff happen? How do you get in touch with me? I'm building my own website right now, and I'm probably going to do a step-by-step tutorial on my social media, so you can see the stages that I'm personally going through, that I help others go through in order to get everything lined up. So right now, if you want in on this, this is starting right from the ground upwards, okay? So this is like getting in right at the beginning before it really explodes, and all of this amazing content that everyone's going to produce and share is available, but everyone's putting it together right now and it's starting to happen. So if you want in at this stage, email me. Just email me and explain what you do, where you're struggling, or what you're excited by, what inspired you by these presentations. And even if you just got some questions or whatever, you just want to drop a line and grab a coffee, hey, do you know what? Just do it. Just get in touch and let's make it happen. Because the more diverse skill sets I bring in, the more everyone benefits. And if you're stuck and you want that way, you're looking for that inspiration or that shift from where you are to where you want to go, you can book the healing sessions from me. They're either online or in person, and that is entirely possible. So drop me a line on that front. I just want to finish off with, again, the classic quote: be the change you want to see in the world. If we want this world, if we're going to turn this whopping great big tanker of a crazy world around, then for me, these four corners, that I'm just going to reiterate them. How good would it be if you were doing something you absolutely love? How good would it be if you were doing something you're good at, that you've just got natural skill and aptitude for? What if you were offering something that solves the world's problems in some way, big or small? And what if you were able to make a decent living from it that supports you and your family? How about that? And what if with all of that, you also have freedom of time to do what you want to do, not be tied down, and freedom financially to do the things you want to do? That's what I'm building right now. This is my purpose. This is what I'm here to do, and I'm implementing it. And like I said, we're right at the start of this entire program. So right now is probably the most accessible and affordable way you can get involved, by emailing me. It won't be so affordable in the future because it's going to be huge, and the value and the assistance and the sheer no-brainer of how you can go from where you are now to this phenomenal, as we've just seen on the screen right now, how we can have all these things, is going to be worth quite a bit. And so it's great to be offering this right now to start really building those foundations and getting this amazing rock band together. So thanks for listening. There's going to be many more presentations. I'm going to look to do a presentation every Wednesday, a live presentation, because I really love doing this work. This is what fires me up and gets me sparked up and gets me excited. So I want to keep doing that, because the more I'm in my passion and in my ikigai, doing what I love, doing what I'm good at, offering what the world needs, and I make money from it, is that life feels pretty good. So you'll see more of me in the future, and thanks for watching.